Lola's life was dangerously advancing toward a point of no return, but she was too blinded by love to see it. She looked so bright and beautiful in her white wedding dress, her 3-month baby bump protruding slightly as she stared lovingly at the man she believed had given her the world, given her everything. Cheek and Lola exchanged their wedding vows and found themselves staring lovingly at each other afterward, both lost in the moment. "Baby." Cheek wiped a tear from her face with his thumb. "You're crying," he said with fake concern. Lola smiled through her happy tears. "I'm sorry. I was just overwhelmed with how grateful I am to have you in my life. You gave me this child I'm carrying, and despite my memory loss, you don't love me less. I love you, Cheek. Oh, come on." Cheek cupped her face. "And I love you more." Applause erupted from the small crowd in Seoul. Then the officiant's voice, who had been waiting for them, finally cut through their reverie. "I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride." As they both leaned in to kiss, a flash suddenly ripped through her mind. A different man, the Seoul skyline, and then a voice saying, "Marry me." The strange flash left her with a slight headache as an aftermath, making her stumble backward. Cheek caught her, concern painted perfectly across his face. "Baby, what's wrong? We're married now. Let's just go home." Feeling better now, Lola smiled. "I'm fine, but I'm not going home yet, not until you kiss me." Again, the kiss wasn't successful. Their lips were only inches apart when a loud gunshot echoed through the hall, throwing the moment into chaos. One of the guests dropped dead instantly, and no one knew where exactly the bullet came from. Many didn't even care to know. They ran helter-skelter, their hearts in their mouths. Cheek's guardian, Dae Sung, guarded Cheek and his panicked pregnant bride toward safety, toward their car. "Go home, you two. I will be with you shortly." His face turned dangerously dark. "I need to find who had such audacity." Many miles away, Minjun's phone buzzed in a private Lagos gym. The punching bag swayed as his fist stopped mid-swing. Water dripped down his bare torso. 30 days of this fortifying gym ritual. 30 days of searching. "Boss!" Jun's voice crackled through the phone speaker, breathless. "I've found her." Minjun's heart stopped. "Hey, family. You don't want to miss what a man who spent 30 days searching for his pregnant fiancée would do when he discovers that she had just been married to someone else by his greatest enemy. Subscribe now if you haven't, and drop a comment if you're ready for war. This story is about to get brutal. 4 weeks earlier, Lola had woken up in a black van with no memory of how she got there. "You're safe now." The man beside her had kind eyes, strong hands that steadied her when she tried to sit up. "I'm Chike, your fiancé. You were in a car accident. The doctors said you have retrograde amnesia. You remember how to do things, but not who you did them with." She'd stared at him, this stranger claiming to be her love, and felt nothing at first. "We were 2 weeks from our wedding when it happened," he continued, showing her a photo on his phone. The two of them smiling, her in a yellow sundress. "You're 2 months pregnant. Our baby." Her hand went to her stomach instinctively, a slight swell there she hadn't noticed. An older man in the front seat turned, his smile grandfatherly and warm. "I'm Dae Sung, Cheek's godfather. We're taking you somewhere safe while you recover." "My mother and father?" Her voice came out hoarse. "What about them? Don't I have any siblings?" Chike's face fell with practiced sympathy. "Baby, you don't have any siblings. Your father died when you were a teenager, and your mother passed away 2 years ago. Heart condition. I'm so sorry you have to learn this again." The grief hit fresh, like the first time. She cried in Cheek's arms while the van carried her away from everything she couldn't remember. As Cheeky patted her back with one hand, his other hand held up a phone as he stared at the text from Dae Sung that read, "Keep playing along till we eliminate her soon." In the following weeks, Chika committed himself to making her believe that they shared something real. The traditional Korean house in Gangwon province became their sanctuary. Every morning, Chik woke early to cook jollof rice exactly how she liked it. Extra tomatoes, less oil. When she took her first bite and cried, he was there with gentle hands and patient words. "Your body remembers even when your mind doesn't, baby. That's beautiful." He told her stories of their love, how they met at a Lagos tech conference, how she spilled coffee on his presentation notes, how he proposed on Jeju Island at sunset while she cried for 5 whole minutes before saying yes. She started to believe him. He brought her purple orchids because she'd mentioned they felt important somehow. "Your mother kept them in the house always," he said, and she buried her face in the blooms, grateful for any connection to a past she couldn't remember. They took walks through autumn leaves. He taught her Korean phrases, "Saranghae, I love you." He kissed her softly, patiently, never pushing for more than she was ready to give. By the 3rd week, Lola had fallen completely. "I've been thinking," she said over dinner. "We were 2 weeks from our wedding when the accident happened. Why are we waiting? What if I never remember? You've been so patient, so loving. Let's get married next week. I don't want to wait anymore." She had just suggested what Chika had been trying to propose. Cheek stood slowly, came around the table, and pulled her into a hug, careful of her baby bump. "Yes, baby, we'll get married. I love you so much." She couldn't see his face buried in her shoulder, couldn't see how his tender smile vanished into something dark and cold as his arms tightened around her. Lagos's Victoria Island. Min-jun emerged from a late-night suya spot when he saw him, one of Dae-sung's men. The scar above his left eye was unmistakable. Their eyes met. The man bolted. "Wait!" Min-jun sprinted after him, weaving through the evening crowds. "I just want to talk." His phone buzzed. He ignored it, gaining ground. 20 feet, 15, 10. The phone buzzed again. Cursing, he yanked it out mid-sprint. Zainab's name flashed. "Not now, Please, help." Zainab's voice cracked through tears. "It's Lola's mum. She's having that heart attack again. She keeps crying for her daughter. She's dying, Min-jun. Please come fast." Min-jun's legs gave out. He stumbled to a stop, watching the man vanish into the Lagos night. "Shit!" As Min-jun approached the hospital, his mind reeled back 2 weeks, when he'd flown from Seoul to Lagos to confess the truth, how he'd been sent to kill Samuel Adeyemi but walked away, how the revelation shattered Lola, how their heated argument led to her running into traffic, the accident, the coma, the kidnapping. Grace had been devastated by the truth, but Zainab told her about the anonymous heart surgery payment, and slowly, painfully, Grace forgave him. Now, Min-jun walked into the hospital room to find Grace stable, but crying. Zainab hovering beside her bed. Zainab rushed to him, tears streaming. "I was so scared, Min-jun. Please help me beg her to stop overthinking. It's affecting her heart. We'll find Lola." Min-jun knelt beside Grace's bed, took her trembling hand. "Grace, please, you have to stay strong. My baby is out there. I know, and I'm going to find her. I promise." He squeezed her hand tighter. "But Grace, listen. When I bring Lola home and she finds out something happened to you because you couldn't wait, it will destroy her. Don't you see? You have to be here. You have to be strong. For her." Grace's tears slowed. Something shifted in her eyes. "I'll wait," she whispered finally, wiping her face. "Find her, Min-jun. Bring my daughter back to me. Please. I'll wait. I promise." The next morning, while a wedding was taking place somewhere far away, Min-jun was shirtless and dripping sweat in his private Lagos gym, punching the bag like his life depended on it. Each blow more powerful than the last. 30 days of this. 30 days of searching. 30 days of failure. He had to find her. Had to get Lola back before... His phone buzzed on the floor. "Boss." Jun's voice crackled through the speaker, breathless. "I found her. She's here in Seoul." Minjun froze mid-punch. His face lit up with desperate hope. Where? Tell me where. There was a wedding. She just got married to someone else. The words hit. Harder than any punch ever could. What? I tried to stop it, fired a shot to create chaos, but I accidentally hit someone. Boss, the groom is taking her away. I need to follow them and update you when I... Another voice cut through. Deep, familiar, cold. Minjun's blood turned to ice. Dae Sung. Well, 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 look what I found. No, please don't. Jun's voice pitched with terror. Bang. Silence. June! Minjun roared, his voice raw with agony. June! Nothing. Just the empty line and the echo of that gunshot. Minjun's fist connected with the punching bag so hard it flew off its chain, crashing against the wall. I'll find you, Dae Sung, he bellowed into the empty gym, tears and sweat streaming down his face. I'll find you and I will kill you myself. Do you hear me? But there was only silence. June was dead, and Lola had just married his enemy. In the following weeks, after the wedding catastrophe had died down, Cheek and Lola's love seemed to blossom until her pregnancy hormones made her horny sometimes, made her have sexual needs which it looked like Chike had been stylishly avoiding. Then she realized that she and Chike had never had sex since she woke up without her memory. He only planted kisses on her forehead and pressed kisses to her lips, but she dismissed it as Chike being over-considerate of her pregnancy. One day, Chike brought her purple orchids. How did you know? She touched the petals, surprised by the rush of emotion. You told me once. Purple flowers meant something to you. For a moment, watching him arrange them in a vase, she saw something cross his face. Guilt, maybe, or regret. Then it was gone, replaced by his warm smile. I feel like I'm forgetting something important, she whispered that night, staring at the ceiling of the remote Gangwon Hanok. Fall leaves rustled outside the window, like there's something or someone I'm supposed to remember. Cheek's breathing stayed steady beside her. That's normal with amnesia. Your brain is healing. Give it time. But time was the one thing they didn't have. Because in a penthouse across the country, Dae Sung stood alone with a photo of a young woman, Ji Won, dead 3 years ago because of her love for Minjun. He had killed his secret lover in the Mafia with his own hands because she was in love with Minjun, the traitor who betrayed him by walking away from an important assignment. She chose the traitor over him despite knowing how much he was obsessed with her. He circled December 15th on his calendar. Your birthday, my love, he whispered to the photo. The day I killed you, the day I'll make him pay for your death by killing his family, watching him lose what matters most to him. 4 months isn't far anymore, my love. The execution date was set, and Lola, now 5 weeks pregnant, had no idea she was already living on borrowed time. She had no idea that someone was ready to take her life the very month she was supposed to give birth. She was browsing the internet with a phone Chike had given her when she found photos of a place called Gamcheon Village. Colorful houses cascading down a hillside like a painted dream, though she didn't know he monitored every search. This place is beautiful, she called to Cheek. Someday I want to see it. He barely looked up from his laptop. Maybe. A crack beginning to show in the facade. She saved the photo anyway, not knowing that in 4 months, Dae Sung, who had become family to them, who used to send her gifts sometimes, would take her there to die. Another day brought a memory that wasn't quite a memory, more like a dream bleeding through. A little girl, herself maybe, watching a woman plan church events. The woman's face was blurred, but her voice was warm. Event planning is how we serve our community, baby. I think I want to plan events someday, she told Chike that evening. Weddings, parties, make people happy. He barely looked up from his laptop. That's nice, baby. But later, when she was asleep, Chike stood watching her from the doorway. His expression wasn't kind anymore. It was calculating, cold. He touched her face gently, whispered words she'd never hear. I wish I was sorry, but I'm not. Then he closed the door and called Dae-sung. I think she's getting suspicious, asking about photos. There are inconsistencies in my stories sometimes. Let her ask. Dae-sung's voice was smooth through the phone. Confusion is one of our weapons. The more questions she has, the less she'll trust anyone, including Min-jun when he finally finds her. You want him to find her? Of course, I want him to find her. See her happy with you, fall in love with her all over again, and then watch her die. Maximum suffering. That's always been the plan. Don't forget, Cheek, while I make you super rich in return. Cheek hung up and stared at the calendar on the wall. December 15th, Ji-won's birthday. 4 months away. Min-jun was losing his mind for not being able to find his woman, or Dae-sung, despite having returned to Seoul for weeks. One day came with another false hope that nearly destroyed him. A woman in Itaewon, pregnant, dark skin, similar height. He chased her for 6 blocks, weaving through crowds, heart pounding. Lola! She turned, and he was met with a wrong face, wrong eyes, annoyed expression. I'm sorry, I thought... His voice broke. I'm sorry. People stared as he walked away. He looked like a madman. Maybe he was becoming one, he thought, but he didn't care. That night he called Dr. Kim, the neurologist who'd treated Lola after the crash. If I find her, how do I handle the amnesia? Carefully. Retrograde amnesia from temporal lobe trauma. She remembers skills but not episodic memories. People, events, relationships. Can I just tell her the truth? Absolutely not. The shock could trigger preterm labor, placental abruption. You could kill her and the baby. You need to let her body remember first. Sensory triggers, familiar touches, smells, sounds. Let her come to the truth naturally. And if she doesn't remember in time, then maybe you'll have to risk an impossible choice. But whatever happens is on you. While Min-jun sat alone in the dark, losing everything, his phone buzzed, his lieutenant in Seoul. Boss, the company's in trouble. We need you back. Handle it. I can't. The board wants your signature on I said handle it. He hung up. 24 hours later, the bank called about foreclosure. Mr. Park, we need to discuss your assets. Take them. I don't care. Everything was slipping away. Business, money, stability. He was burning his entire life to find her. And he'd do it again, and again, and again. The seemingly sweet love life soon started showing cracks Lola couldn't ignore. It started with the nights she reached for him, pregnancy hormones making her body crave intimacy. Cheek would stiffen beside her, his smile forced. I'm exhausted, baby. Long day. Or, let me just finish this work in my study. I'll be back soon. But he never came back, not until he was certain she'd fallen asleep, frustrated and confused. Is it the pregnancy? She asked one morning, her voice small. Am I not attractive to you anymore? What? No, baby, you're beautiful. He kissed her forehead, careful to keep distance between their bodies. I'm just stressed with work. Nothing to do with you. But she felt the lie in how he avoided looking at her belly, how his jaw tightened whenever the baby kicked visibly through her dress. When she thought it couldn't get any worse, then came the trips. Seoul, 3 days. Busan, a week. Back to Seoul, 4 days. He was barely home anymore. When they talked on the phone, his voice was warm, attentive. But in person, she caught him staring at her bump with something that looked dangerously close to disgust. I hired someone to help you while I'm traveling, he said before his latest trip. Mi-sun, she'll cook, clean, keep you company. Mi-sun arrived the next day, young, Korean, with a warm smile. It's nice to meet you, Lola said, trying to ignore how much this felt like being assigned a keeper. You too. Cheek told me you're wonderful. But Lola noticed how Mi-sun's phone was always in her hand, how she watched everything Lola did with careful attention. Another guard dressed as help. I need to get out sometimes, Lola told Cheek over the phone a week later when he was in Dae Sung's private office in Seoul. "I'm going crazy in this house. The doctor said exercise is good for the pregnancy." A pause. "Where would you go?" "Supermarket. Park, just outside. Me-sun can come with me." "Fine, but I'm assigning Young-ho as security. He'll follow at a distance. Protection, not surveillance." "I don't need a bodyguard." "It's not negotiable, Lola. After everything, I need to know you're safe." She agreed, because arguing felt pointless. Cheek ended the call and dropped his phone on the desk with a heavy sigh, exhaustion written across his face. Dae Sung, who was with him and heard everything, smirked from his leather chair, swirling whiskey in his glass. "Trouble in paradise? Your dear wife wearing you down? Don't start. I'm just curious." Dae Sung's smirk widened. "I thought you were obsessed with her once. What happened? Lost interest in playing devoted husband?" Cheek's face twisted with disgust. "That was before. Not anymore." He gestured sharply toward nothing. "Now she's pregnant with another man's baby. Every time I look at that bump, I wanna—" He cut himself off, jaw clenched. "If you hadn't made it a condition of my position, I would have punched that baby out of her weeks ago." Such hostility. Dae Sung chuckled darkly. "And here I thought you were enjoying your role." I can barely hide my disgust anymore. Touching her makes my skin crawl. Dae Sung studied him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "You know what, Jake? I'm impressed. You've proven yourself more committed to this organization than I expected. Keeping up that performance for weeks, that takes dedication. So, can I stop pretending now?" "Soon, but first." Dae Sung leaned forward, his expression turning cold and calculating. "I'm promoting you, deposing my current second in command. You'll replace him effective immediately." Cheek's eyes widened. "Seriously? You've earned it. And as for your wife?" Dae Sung's smile turned razor sharp. "I don't think Min Jun is suffering enough. Wherever he is right now, he's probably still hoping, still searching, still believing he'll get her back." "What are you suggesting?" Dae Sung set down his glass with deliberate precision. "We eliminate the baby first, before we kill her. Let Min Jun find out she lost the child. Let that destroy him piece by piece. Then when he's completely broken, we kill her too. He'll have nothing left but the knowledge that he failed to protect either of them." Cheek stared at him. "Kill the baby? How?" "There are ways. Accidents happen to pregnant women all the time. A fall, contaminated food, stress-induced miscarriage." Dae Sung's voice was clinical, detached. "You have access to her daily. Mi-sun reports everything she eats, everywhere she goes. We have options." "When?" "Soon. I'll tell you when it's time." Dae Sung stood, walked to the window overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline. December 15th is still her execution date, but the baby dies first. I want Min Jun to feel every layer of loss before we deliver the final blow. Cheeky nodded slowly, and for the first time in weeks, something like relief crossed his face. "Finally, I can stop pretending to care about that thing she's carrying. Just a little longer, Chike. Keep up the loving husband act on the phone, and the little times you go home to her. Keep her believing you care. The more secure she feels, the more devastating it'll be when everything falls apart." Dae Sung raised his glass. "To suffering, the slow, methodical kind." Cheek didn't have a glass, but he mimicked the gesture anyway. And outside that window, somewhere in the city, Lola sat in her mountain prison completely unaware that the life growing inside her had just been marked for death. One day, while Cheeky was away for weeks on his so-called business trip, Lola and Mi-sun, who had become so close, went to a supermarket. The supermarket was crowded that Thursday afternoon. Lola pushed her cart slowly through the aisles, one hand resting on her 4-month bump, Mi-sun chattering beside her about the best brands of rice. Across the store, in the international food section, Min Jun stood frozen, staring at jollof rice seasonings he couldn't focus on. He'd flown back to Seoul recently, following a lead that went nowhere. Now he was here, buying groceries like a normal person, pretending his world wasn't shattered. Their paths didn't cross. Not yet. "Oh no," Lola said suddenly, checking her purse. "I forgot my wallet at home." "I'll get it." Mi-sun touched her arm. "You stay here and rest. That's a long drive back up the mountain." "Are you sure?" "Positive. Young-ho will drive me. We'll be back in 40 minutes. Lola watched them leave, Mi-sun and Young-ho, walking close together, their hidden passion barely concealed in how their hands almost touched. She'd noticed it days ago but said nothing. Let them have their secret. God knows this house needed some genuine feeling in it. She wandered toward the baby section, running her fingers over tiny yellow dresses when it hit. The headache. Sharp. Blinding. A flash ripped through her mind, someone's voice, deep and warm, saying something about yellow, about a girl, about gone. She stumbled, grabbed a shelf for support. Heads turned. People stared. "Are you okay?" A store employee rushed over. "I'm fine, just—" Her vision swam. "I need a moment." That's when Min-jun saw her. He'd turned the corner into the baby section, and there she was. 15 feet away, heavily pregnant with his child, beautiful, alive, and wearing a wedding ring that wasn't his entire body locked up, every muscle seized, his heart stopped beating for 3 full seconds before slamming back to life, so hard it hurt. Lola. She was rubbing her temple, clearly in pain, people hovering around her with concern. He wanted to run to her, wanted to shout her name, wanted to grab her and never let go. But Dr. Kim's warning echoed in his mind. Don't shock her. The stress could trigger preterm labor, could kill her and the baby. You need to let her body remember first. Min-jun forced himself to breathe, to think, to be smart instead of desperate. She was excusing herself from the concerned shoppers now, heading toward the restrooms at the back of the store. He followed at a distance, his mind racing. If she didn't remember him, and clearly she didn't, or she would have reacted to seeing him, he couldn't just tell her. Couldn't say, "I'm Min-jun, your real fiancé, that baby is mine, you've been kidnapped." She'd think he was insane, or worse, the shock could harm her. No, he had to be careful. Strategic. If she didn't remember him, he'd start slow, build trust, let her body recognize him before her mind did, however long it took. He reached the restroom area, the family bathroom with a single stall. She'd gone inside. He stood outside the door, his hand trembling as he raised it to knock. This was it. First contact in 6 months. The woman he loved, 5 feet away with no memory of him. He had one chance to do this right. It was now or never. Inside the restroom, Lola gripped the sink edges, staring at her reflection through tears. The headache was fading, leaving behind that familiar, hollow ache. That sense of something missing, someone missing. Why couldn't she remember? It had been months. The doctors said memories could return any time, but hers stayed stubbornly locked away. She sobbed quietly, one hand on her belly, feeling more alone than ever. A soft knock. She froze, wiping her face quickly. Occupied. The door opened anyway. A man stepped inside, tall, sharp features, dark eyes that held something she couldn't name. Pain, maybe, or recognition. He closed the door gently behind him. "What's wrong?" His voice was deep, careful. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine." She turned away, trying to compose herself. "You don't look fine." Something in his tone made her look back. He was staring at her with an intensity that should have frightened her but didn't. His eyes were wet, like he was fighting tears of his own. He crossed the small space between them slowly, giving her time to tell him to stop. She didn't. He reached up, thumb brushing away a tear on her cheek with devastating gentleness. Lola's breath caught. Her heart hammered against her ribs. She knew this touch. Her body knew this touch. But her mind offered nothing. "Is there anything I can do for you?" he asked softly. The words tumbled out before she could stop them. Can you fuck a 7 months pregnant woman? He froze, his hand still on her face, eyes widening. What? I'm sorry, But she couldn't take it back now. The desperation, the loneliness, the way her body was screaming recognition at this stranger, it all poured out. She grabbed his shirt. Yes, can you fuck me? Right here, right now, I need it. I'll pay you if you want. Minjun's vision blurred with tears. He refused to let fall. The irony was crushing, devastating, perfect and terrible. Over a year ago, he'd met her in a bathroom just like this. He'd been the desperate one, broken and scarred, asking her to touch him, offering to pay her. Now she stood before him, his Lola carrying his child, wearing another man's ring, asking him for the same thing. And she had no idea who he was. You don't have to pay me, he whispered, his voice breaking. Then why are you crying? Because he stopped himself. Couldn't tell her. Not yet. Because you deserve better than a stranger in a bathroom. I don't want better. I want to feel something real. My husband doesn't touch me. I feel like I'm disappearing. Her fingers tightened in his shirt. Please, make me feel real. Every cell in Minjun's body screamed to tell her the truth. To say I'm not a stranger. I'm yours. That baby is ours. I've been searching for you for 5 months. I love you. But Dr. Kim's warning echoed. Don't shock her. So instead, he cupped her face with both hands, looked into eyes that didn't recognize him, and made a choice. What's your name? Lola. I'm Minjun. He watched for recognition, found none. And Lola, I'll give you what you need, but not because you're paying me. Because he stopped, could only finish it in his mind. Because you're mine. Because I've touched you 1,000 times before. Because that baby you're carrying is ours. Happy that that bastard hasn't been touching his woman. He kissed her. She kissed him back immediately, desperately, like two long-lost lovers reuniting, which they were, even if she didn't know it yet. His hands were careful around her belly, protective of their baby, while his mouth told her everything his words couldn't. I know you. I love you. You're mine. She melted against him, her body remembering what her mind had forgotten. Then the door burst open. They sprang apart. Young-ho stood there, phone already in his hand, Mi-sun right behind him, eyes wide. Lola's face flushed crimson with embarrassment. Minjun's expression stayed steady, unreadable. I'm calling Cheek, Young-ho started. Really? Mi-sun's voice turned dangerous, playful. You want me to tell Cheeky how you just fucked me like a madman at home before we came back here? Young-ho froze. You're giving me away now? Lola gasped softly. Mi-sun stepped closer to Young-ho, lowered her voice. Look at her. She's starved. Her husband barely touches her. Let her have this one moment. Young-ho looked between Lola and the stranger, then slowly pocketed his phone. 1 moment. That's it. We'll be waiting outside, Mi-sun said, pulling Young-ho toward the door. They left. Lola and Minjun stood in the sudden silence, the weight of what just happened and what almost happened hanging between them. I should go, she whispered. Wait! He pulled out his phone. Can I see you again? Minjun pulled out a shopping bag from behind the paper towel dispenser. Inside, pregnancy vitamins and a card. Take one daily, from a friend who knows you. I don't understand. You will. He moved toward the door. Open the vitamin bottle when you get home. Wait, who are you? He looked back, his expression breaking her heart in ways she couldn't explain. Park Min-jun and Lola, I can't forget you. Then he was gone. She stood alone in the bathroom, the shopping bag in her, trembling hands feeling like her entire world had just shifted on its axis. When Lola was alone in the car in the compound, she couldn't stop staring at the shopping bag. At home, she locked herself in the bathroom and opened the vitamin bottle. It was empty except for a phone at the bottom, a burner with one number programmed. Her finger hovered over the call button. This was insane. She was married, pregnant. That man was a stranger. But her body didn't think so. Her body had recognized him instantly, had responded to his touch like coming home. When she got inside, she headed straight to the bathroom and pressed call. It rang twice. Hello? His voice. That voice. It's me, the woman from the supermarket. I know, I've been waiting for weeks for you to call. That doesn't make sense. We just met today. Did we? Silence stretched between them. I want to see you again, she whispered. When? Tomorrow, 2 p.m. I'll text you the address. She hung up before she could change her mind. Then sat on the bathroom floor, phone pressed to her chest, and wondered what she'd just done. His apartment was everything Cheeks wasn't. Lived in, real, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's skyline. But the books on the shelves looked actually red. The kitchen showed signs of use. The whole space felt like a person lived there, not performed there. You came. Minjun opened the door, surprise and hope mixing on his face. I shouldn't be here. But you are. They sat on his couch, careful distance between them, and talked for hours. About nothing. About everything. He asked questions that felt both intrusive and natural, and she found herself answering with an honesty she couldn't give cheeky. Tell me about yourself, he said. I don't know myself. That's the problem. Then tell me what you feel right now. Terrified, confused, like I'm standing on the edge of something important. She looked at him. Why does a stranger feel safer than my own husband? Maybe I'm not a stranger. You keep saying that. Because it's true. He stood, moved to the kitchen. Are you hungry? 20 minutes later, he placed a plate in front of her. Jollof rice, fried plantains, pepper soup. She took one bite and burst into tears. What's wrong? This is exactly how I love it. He knelt in front of her, his eyes full of things he couldn't say. I learned it for someone special. Who? Maybe I'll tell you later. After 20 seconds of heated looks, they kissed on that couch, soft at first, then desperate, like two people drowning who'd finally found air. She pulled back, gasping. I can't. I'm married. To a man who doesn't know your birthday. How do you... But her phone was ringing. Chike. The spell shattered. I have to go. Minjun didn't stop her, just watched as she gathered her things, her lipstick smudged, her face flushed, her world tilting. Lola. He caught her hand at the door. That baby. You're carrying. Ask him when you conceived. Then do the math. She pulled away and walked out as fast as her almost 8 months pregnancy could let her. Lola's guilt for cheating on her husband would not let her rest. It pushed her into an old abandoned church on the outskirts of Busan, its doors groaning as she slipped inside. She stayed in the confessional booth, not on a pew, but on the bare floor, hands clasped so tightly her fingers ached. Forgive me, Father, she whispered. I've been seeing someone who isn't my husband. There was a sharp intake of breath, followed by a low, theatrical chuckle. Ah, the flesh knocks before the soul answers, the priest said, his voice oddly animated. Have you been intimate? He asked suddenly, leaning closer. No, but I want to be. Wanting, he exclaimed, laughing too loudly. Desire is a drumbeat, my child. Ignore it, and it pounds louder. Dance to it, and boom, revelation. She frowned. I don't remember my marriage. I have amnesia. I feel nothing for my husband, but one touch from this man, and my body knows him. The priest slapped his knee. Bodies are honest creatures. Minds lie. People lie. Rings lie. God hums in your bones. So what do I do? He lowered his voice, suddenly intense. Stop listening to mouths. Listen to your heart. Chase what wakes you. She left shaken, even more confused than before, but with one clear truth echoing inside her. She wanted more, and she was tired of running from it. She would only find out later that the man she met wasn't a priest. He was a madman who escaped and used the old abandoned church as his hideout. That night, back at Min Jun's apartment, she'd returned without planning to. They were on his bed, talking, laughing, when his hand settled on her belly. The baby kicked, hard, repeatedly. More movement than Lola had felt in weeks. "She never moves like this," Lola whispered. "Maybe she knows me." "That's impossible." "What does your body tell you right now?" Her body was screaming. Home, safe, right. "I don't understand any of this." "You will, I promise." They made love that afternoon, slow, careful of her belly. He treated her like something precious and rare, and halfway through she started crying because this felt more real than anything in her remembered life. After, they lay tangled in sheets, her head on his chest, his hand protective over her 8-month belly. Min Jun's mind wandered to dark places. Cheek, Dae-sung. Vengeance he'd delayed because shocking Lola could harm her and the baby. But how much longer could he wait? She was 8 months pregnant. Would he just let her give birth in that bastard's house? No, he had to tell her the truth. "Lola," he started carefully, "there's something I need to tell you about your husband." She stiffened. "What about him?" "He's not who you think he is. You're in danger." "Stop." She sat up, pulling the sheet around herself. "What are you insinuating?" "I'm saying Cheek is dangerous. You were kidnapped. The amnesia wasn't from an accident, it was... You don't even know him." Her voice rose, defensive, guilty. "I still love my husband. This..." She gestured between them. "This was a mistake." Then something shifted in her eyes. Suspicion. Fear. "Cheek warned me," she said slowly, backing away, "that someone tried to kill me at the wedding, that they might still be out there. Lola, that's not... The way we met was insane, too convenient, too perfect." Her voice turned cold. "It was you, wasn't it? You're the one who's been trying to hurt me." "What? No!" Min Jun stood, reaching for her. "I would never. Stay away from me." She grabbed her clothes, dressing quickly. "You're obsessed, delusional. This is wrong. I can't do this." "Lola, please, just listen." "I said stay away." She backed toward the door. "Don't ever show your face around me again. If I see you near me, I'm calling the police." She left. Min Jun stood frozen as the door slammed, a memory crashing over him like ice water. 4 months ago, different argument. Same words. "Stay away from me." He'd listened then, respected her wish, given her space, and she'd run into traffic, ended up in a coma, got kidnapped. His staying away had destroyed everything. Not this time. Not when she was carrying his child straight back into Dae-sung's trap. He grabbed his keys and ran. His car tore through Seoul traffic like a missile. He spotted them 3 blocks ahead. Young-ho's vehicle heading toward the mountains. Min Jun floored it, overtook them, cut them off violently. Young-ho slammed the brakes. The car screeched to a stop. Min Jun was out instantly, gun drawn, empty, but they didn't know that. "Get out," he told Lola through the window. "Are you insane?" she screamed. Young-ho opened his door. Min Jun aimed at him. "Stay in the car." "You're making a mistake." Min Jun pressed the gun to Lola's temple through the open window, gently, carefully. Her eyes went wide with terror. "I'm sorry," he whispered, "but I'm not losing you again." He pulled her from the car. Young-ho lunged. Min Jun redirected the gun toward him. "One more step and I shoot." Young-ho froze, hands raised. Min Jun dragged Lola to his car, shoved her gently into the passenger seat despite her kicking, locked the doors. She was screaming, hitting him. "Let me go, you're crazy." She slapped him hard across the face. A single tear rolled down Min Jun's cheek, not from the sting, but from what he'd become. A man kidnapping the woman he loved, just like Dae-sung had. He started the engine and drove. "Hey, family, would you do the same thing if you were Min Jun?" He clearly had no choice. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button if you haven't. Now let's continue. Minjun's mansion loomed ahead. He pulled into the driveway, still gripping Lola's arm as she struggled. "Let me go! Just listen to me for 5 minutes." He froze. The front door was open. 3 of his guards lay dead in the entrance hall, blood pooling on marble floors. His blood turned to ice. No. Then he saw them, standing in his living room like they owned it. Dae-sung and Cheeky, both armed, both smiling. A deadly reunion. Lola wrenched herself from Minjun's grasp and ran toward Cheeky, but stopped halfway when she saw the guns. "Baby, it's okay." Cheek's voice was smooth, reassuring. "These are for our bodyguards, for protection." "Don't believe a word they say," Minjun shouted from behind her. "Lola, I'm the real father of your child. They kidnapped you." Dae-sung and Cheeky exchanged glances and burst into laughter like Minjun had just told the funniest joke they'd ever heard. "You bastard." Cheek's smirk turned vicious. "After killing her father, you still had the guts to kidnap her? To lie to her?" Lola's world tilted. "Killed my father." "Yes, baby." Cheeky pulled out a photo, walked it over to her carefully. "While I was away, I researched who tried to harm us at our wedding. I just found out it was him. He killed your father 3 years ago." The photo showed Minjun in tactical gear, gun pointed at Samuel Adeyemi. "No!" Minjun stepped forward. "It's a lie. I was sent to kill him, but I walked away." "You killed my father." Lola's voice was dead, flat. "Lola, please." She turned to Cheek, her face a mask of fury. "Shoot him." Both Cheek and Dae-sung stared at her in shock. "Baby, are you sure?" "Shoot him!" She grabbed the gun from Cheek's hand, aimed it at Minjun with trembling hands. The shock on Minjun's face was absolute. "Lola, don't do this." Her finger found the trigger. She was shaking, indecisive. Suddenly another flash hit her mind, his voice saying, "I love you," his hands on her face. She jerked, accidentally pulling the trigger. The gun fired. The bullet lodged in Minjun's shoulder. He went down hard, blood blooming across his shirt. Lola stood frozen, the gun dropping from her hands. Part of her felt regret. Part of her didn't know what to feel. She turned away in tears, walking toward Chike, who opened his arms. He embraced her, patting her back gently. If she'd been paying attention, she might have noticed the way he winked at Dae-sung over her shoulder. Might have felt that his comfort was performative. Suddenly, something hard connected with the back of her head. Everything went black. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Before Lola's body could hit the floor, Dae-sung and Cheeky caught her and dragged her toward their car, engines, already running. They were gone before the sirens got close. Lola woke to motion and voices. The car was speeding through streets she didn't recognize. Dae-sung drove. Cheeky sat beside her in the back seat. Then the memories hit. Not fragments, not flashes. Everything. The bathroom where she met Minjun, moving in together, the pregnancy test, finding the package with her father's photo, the argument, the accident, waking in the hospital, Minjun's face, "I'm all you have in soul," then waking in the van with Cheek's lies. All of it. Every moment. Every truth. Every lie. "No," she whispered, tears streaming. "No, no, no." She'd shot him. Shot Minjun, the man she loved, the father of her child. Where is he? She tried to move, kicked weakly. "Let me go. I need to—" A contraction ripped through her abdomen. Sharp. Violent. She gasped, clutching her belly. Another contraction. Stronger. "The baby!" Her voice broke with pain and terror. "It's time. The baby's coming." Dae-sung glanced in the rearview mirror, his expression cold. Perfect timing. "What?" Lola's breath came in ragged gasps. "It's time to eliminate you," Dae-sung said calmly, like discussing the weather. "But I want Minjun to watch. He might not be dead yet. This will be the final blow that destroys him completely." Cheek said nothing, just stared out the window, his face unreadable. Another contraction. Lola screamed. 2 hours earlier, Min-jun had been rushed to the hospital with a bullet in his shoulder. The injection they'd given him had knocked him out within minutes. Now his eyes fluttered open. His phone buzzed on the bedside table. He reached for it with his good arm, wincing at the pain that shot through his body. A message from an unknown number. Come for her now before it's too late. Then an address. Gamchin Culture Village. Min-jun jerked upright. The movement sent white-hot pain through his shoulder. The bandage was still fresh, wrapped tight around the wound. He could barely stand, barely walk. But he forced himself out of bed. "Sir, you can't leave." A nurse rushed over. "You just had surgery." "Painkillers. Now. You need to rest." "Painkillers." His roar echoed through the corridor. She brought them. He swallowed them dry, grabbed his jacket, and stumbled toward the exit. Every step was agony, but he kept moving. Lola needed him. Gamcheon culture. Village's colorful houses stretched across the hillside like a painted dream. Ironic location for a nightmare. Min-jun arrived to find them on a rooftop overlook. Lola on the ground, writhing in labor pain. Dae-sung standing over her with a gun. Cheek nearby, watching with dead eyes. "Get away from her!" Min-jun's voice tore from his throat. Dae-sung turned, smiled. Ah, the hero arrives. Right on time. A figure stepped from the shadows. The man Dae-sung had deposed as second-in-command when he promoted Cheeky. His gun was aimed at Cheek. "For the position you took from me," the man said. Bang. Cheek dropped. Instantly, blood blooming across his chest. Lola screamed, not from labor this time, but shock. Dae-sung fired without hesitation. The deposed commander fell dead. "Now," Dae-sung said, turning back to Min-jun. "Where were we?" Min-jun launched himself forward despite the pain. They collided, grappling for the gun. Dae-sung was stronger, healthier. He kept targeting Min-jun's bandaged shoulder, hitting it repeatedly. Blood seeped through the white gauze, fresh and hot. "You want to know why?" Dae-sung snarled, slamming Min-jun's shoulder again. "Why I need to watch you suffer? I know about Ji-won." "You know nothing!" Dae-sung's face twisted with rage and grief. "She was my secret lover, the only woman I ever loved, and she fell for you, my own partner, my brother in arms. Then you betrayed me, became my enemy. I didn't know she loved you, so I killed her." Tears streamed down Dae-sung's face. "I killed the woman I loved because she chose you, and I've regretted it every single day. But I blamed you. Easier to hate you than hate myself." Another hit to the shoulder. Min-jun's vision swam. "Now you'll watch your woman and child die, just like I lost mine." Dae-sung shoved Min-jun away, raised his gun toward Lola, who was screaming in labor on the ground. Min-jun saw it happening in slow motion, the gun aiming. Dae-sung's finger on the trigger, Lola's terrified eyes. He threw himself between them. Bang! The bullet hit his stomach. He went down hard beside Lola. "Min-jun!" Her scream pierced the night. Police swarmed the rooftop, the ones who'd helped Min-jun to the hospital and traced him here when he'd escaped. "Drop the weapon!" Dae-sung raised his gun toward them instead. They fired, both his legs. He crumpled, screaming. Officers rushed forward, restraining him. Min-jun lay on the ground, blood pooling beneath him, looking at Lola. "I'm sorry," he whispered, "for everything. Your father, the accident, all of it. Don't you dare die!" She grabbed his face with shaking hands, tears streaming. "Don't you dare leave me now that I remember everything!" Another contraction hit her. She screamed, "The baby!" Min-jun tried to sit up. Couldn't. "Sir, stay down." Paramedics arrived, working on both of them simultaneously. "She's crowning," one shouted. "We need to deliver now." "I can't do this without him," Lola sobbed. "Yes, you can." A paramedic squeezed her hand. "Your baby needs you. Push!" She pushed, screaming, reaching for Min-jun, who was fading fast. "Stay with me," she begged him. "Please stay with me." His eyes fluttered. Grace, Jiwon. That's right, our daughter, Grace Jiwon. Stay awake to meet her. One final push, a cry, thin, weak, but there. It's a girl. They placed the tiny, perfect baby on Lola's chest for 1 second before whisking her to the ambulance. Both of you, now. They loaded Minjun and Lola into separate ambulances. She reached across the space between them. I love you, she whispered. I remember everything. I love you. His hand found hers, squeezed weakly. Then the ambulances pulled away, sirens screaming, racing toward an uncertain future. Minjun's condition was critical. 3 bullets, massive blood loss. But he survived. He lived. 3 days later, stronger now, he walked into Lola's hospital room where she sat, holding their daughter. The moment he saw them together, he broke down completely, tears streaming down his face as he crossed to them. She's perfect, he whispered, touching the baby's tiny hand. Grace Jiwon, Lola said softly. Our miracle. I'm so sorry. She looked up at him, her own eyes wet. I shot you. I believed their lies. I almost... Stop. He cupped her face gently. I'm sorry, too. For your father. For everything that happened. For not protecting you better. We're here now. That's what matters. He kissed her forehead, then their daughters, his family, finally whole. Later that day, Minjun set up his phone for a video call. Lola, there's someone who wants to see you. The screen connected. Zainab's face appeared, then Grace beside her. Mama! Lola burst into tears. Zainab! My baby! Grace sobbed, reaching toward the screen like she could touch her daughter through it. You're alive. You're really alive. And there's someone else. Lola turned the camera toward the baby in her arms. Your granddaughter, Grace Jiwon. Grace collapsed in her chair, overcome. Zainab held her up, both crying happy tears. You did it, Minjun, Zainab said through her tears. You promised us and you kept your word, and to think I had such a bad first impression of you. She laughed wetly. Thank you, my son. Grace pressed her hand to the screen. Thank you for bringing my daughter home. Expect us soon, Zainab added. We're booking flights tonight. 1 week later, Grace and Zainab arrived in Seoul. The reunion was everything. Grace holding Lola for 10 full minutes, unable to let go. Zainab meeting baby Grace Jiwon and immediately declaring herself godmother. Excuse me, Misun interrupted playfully. I'm her mother's bestie, too. I think. I deserve godmother rights. You can both be godmothers, Lola laughed. Young-ho cleared his throat. Actually, we have news, too. Misun beamed. I'm 6 weeks pregnant. More tears, more celebration, more joy. That evening, they heard the final news. Dae-sung sentenced to life imprisonment. It was finally over. 3 weeks later, Minjun took Lola to the balcony where they'd first shared sunset together. The balcony she couldn't remember, but her body did. I asked you once before, he said, dropping to one knee. You said yes. Then everything fell apart, so I'm asking again. Lola Adeyemi, will you marry me? For real this time? Yes. She pulled him up, kissed him. Yes, yes, yes. Wedding plans began immediately. Grace and Zainab helped with every detail. Then Minjun presented her with documents. Lola Adeyemi Events. I registered the company 11 months ago, before the accident. Your dream. She stared at the business registration, tears streaming. You remembered. I remember everything about you. That night, after Grace took baby Grace Jiwon for the evening, Minjun and Lola were finally alone. He carried her to their bedroom, laid her down gently on silk sheets. I've missed you, he whispered against her lips. Missed this. Missed us. Then show me. He undressed her slowly, reverently, kissing every inch of skin he revealed. Her neck, her collarbone, the curve of her breast, down her stomach where their daughter had grown. "You're so beautiful," he breathed. "Always have been." She pulled him closer, kneading him. "Minjun, please." He entered her carefully, watching her face for any discomfort, finding only pleasure and love reflected back. They moved together like they'd done this 1,000 times, because they had, even if she'd forgotten. Their bodies remembered, the rhythm, the way she liked to be touched, the way he knew exactly where to kiss to make her gasp. "I love you," she whispered as they moved, as one. "I remember loving you. I remember everything." "I love you more," he said, capturing her mouth as they reached their peak together. After, they lay tangled in sheets, her head on his chest, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on her back. "We're really getting married," she murmured. "We really are. And Dae-sung can't hurt us anymore. Never again." She kissed his chest, right over his heart. "Our forever starts now." Spring arrived in Seoul with cherry blossoms falling like snow. The garden venue was intimate. 50 guests, purple orchids everywhere, Grace Ji-won in Zainab's arms as flower petals drifted through the air. Grace Adeyemi walked her daughter down the aisle, both crying happy tears. Minjun stood at the altar in a tailored suit, unable to stop the tears streaming down his face as Lola appeared in burgundy, her power color, the one she'd always loved. "You look perfect," he whispered when she reached him. "So do you." The officiant smiled. "I understand you both wrote your own vows." Minjun took her hands. "Lola, I met you in a bathroom where you saved me from darkness. You loved me when I was broken. You carried our daughter through hell and still found your way back to me. I promise to spend every day proving I'm worthy of the second chance you gave us." Lola's voice shook with emotion. "Minjun, my body remembered you when my mind couldn't. You searched for me for weeks. You took bullets for me. You brought me home to my mother and gave me our beautiful daughter. I choose you, today, tomorrow, forever. I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may—" Minjun was already kissing her, dipping her back as cherry blossoms fell around them and their guests erupted in cheers. Baby Grace Ji-won started crying, not upset, just wanting attention. Everyone laughed. The reception was joy incarnate. Grace dancing with her granddaughter, Zainab and Mi-sun arguing playfully over godmother duties, Young-ho announcing their baby would be a boy. That evening, on their balcony overlooking Seoul's glittering lights, Minjun and Lola held each other. "We made it," she whispered. "We did, through amnesia, kidnapping, bullets, and bathrooms." She laughed. "Bathrooms are definitely our thing. Always will be." He kissed her as their daughter slept peacefully inside, as Seoul sparkled below, as their future stretched bright and endless before them. Their forever had finally begun. Hello, wonderful family. If this journey of love, loss, and memory wrecked you beautifully, smash that like button and subscribe for more epic romance stories. Drop a comment telling us your favorite moment and where you're watching from. Was it the bathroom reunion or when she finally remembered? Your support means the world to us. Thank you for watching. The end.